Hey Max here. I'm gonna do this quick little reaction video before I go to bed. I do have off and I can't sleep yet. So I have to say, um, it doesn't feel good to me to think that the Flash isn't doing good. I was really literally shocked when I never expected it to do less than Black Adam opening weekend. Um And I was on a stream earlier with Crazy Joe and Brucifer, and I was on another stream with my friends Ryan, uh, Nicotina, Brian, CJH, and Justin. Now that stream was just the flow was not going well. It was just all over the place, and I just decided to make it private. But I wanted to do this reaction before I get to bed, honestly, because I'm only going to watch it once. I could watch it in my bed, or I could record it. So, I wanted to first get back to James Gunn real quick. Um, it actually it's making me like nauseous that I have to give this disclaimer every single time I mention criticism towards him. But I do not hate this man. I think he's very talented. Um, I think he is kind of a bullshitter, though, with promotion and with the Flash. I think they went way overboard propping this up. But there's many issues as to why I think it's underperforming this badly. Is just how long people have been talking about this movie. No matter what movie comes out now from DC before Superman Legacy or the next Batman or Joker 2, it feels old. It feels like a movie, even though it's released now, it feels like a movie that should have been released years ago. And you have that along with not consumer confidence is lost. And the fandom is splintered. And there's no excuse for it people being toxic. But I've always said that, and you don't match toxicity with toxicity. That's not an excuse. But Warner Brothers was definitely toxic first. And that got out there. The dirty laundry was out there for so long. Then they were obstinate of not doing what there was a large outcry for. And the movies that you're seeing now are a result of them fighting against what they were when they had an opportunity to continue the Snyderverse, being obstinate against it and just doing their own thing. And you're seeing the results of that. And now, just like, there's no winners here. There are no winners here. 55 million domestic. And I just don't see this movie having legs next weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Verse does better than Flash next weekend across the Spider-Verse. But let's go back to James Gunn here about superhero fatigue.
Think that there are too many superhero shows and movies, and because I remember when I did Smallville, there were none.
I don't think there's too many. I think there's too many average and below average superhero projects. That's what I think there's too many of. I think you need to have a strong reason to make this content. And I think every character could potentially have their own series, but if it's not there, you shouldn't do it. And I think they kind of push some certain characters to have shows that may have been a strong character in someone else's show, and they don't necessarily need their own show. Echo, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, that type of situation. I don't think they were justified to get their own spinoff yet.
Yeah, I do think there's too many.
So what do you do about that?
But I don't think it's much less a problem of too many. And yes, we're not going to overextend ourselves at DC. We're going to be very careful with the product that we put out and making sure everything is as good as it can possibly be.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. He has gone all in on this promotion of this movie, which he has to do. But I think that's going to hurt him when he tries, potentially, it could hurt him a little bit when he tries to promote the movies he's fully involved in. Potentially. I hope people will understand the difference and nuance here, that he kind of jumped the gun over promoting this movie, The Flash, even if people are enjoying it, and understand that when he's at the ground level of these next projects, it's gonna be different.
But I think that what's happened is people have gotten really lazy with their superhero stories, and they have gotten to the place where, it's a superhero, let's make a movie about it, you know. And
that's what I was saying. Not every superhero should have a comic. Should every superhero have a movie or a TV show? Not necessarily.
Let's make a sequel because the first one did pretty well. And they aren't thinking about, why is this story special? What makes this story stand apart from other stories?
All right.
What is the story at the heart of it all? Why is this character important? What makes this story different, that it fills a need for people in theaters to go see, you know, or on television?
And that's a hard thing, isn't it?
And I think that it's just that's kind of gotten, people have gotten a little lazy, and there's a lot of, biff pow bam stuff happening in movies. And like, I'm watching third acts of superhero films where I really just don't feel like there's a rhyme or reason to what's happening.
You don't care.
I don't care about.
That's wow. That's kind of interesting, because he made a third act to his superhero franchise, and it's well regarded. So it takes a lot for him to say that. That is shade. That other people have made the third in their movies. Okay. All right. Let's see what else he has to say. But other than that, I agree with everything
about the characters,
right?
And it's and they've gotten too generic. Like, there's this sort of middle of the road type of genre tone that so many superhero movies have, as opposed to having very different genres. I mean, I like very serious superhero movies. I like very comedic.
See, there he likes the Snyder Cut.
Movies. I like ones that are really just a murder mystery, but it's with superheroes. I like to see these different types of stories as opposed to seeing the same story told over and over again. Right. I don't know how many times I don't want to go off on anything.
No, you're not. But it's honest, and I think people really need to hear that, because it's sincere in a sense that you're also a fan, and you want to make movies that have impact, that have them, that people want to see, and not recycle things. So you want to sort of condense it to let's make something that we really, not that people don't work hard on everything they do. Everybody works hard, but the stories have to be more compelling.
Yeah. And I think that also, like, and then people say,
this is great conversation. I differ from some of my friends. I do not think superhero movies on their way out, but everything's got to be justified for its own project. Gone is the time of just releasing it and you go with the flow of the superhero movie movement, and you're just going to instantly get box office. That's not going to happen anymore. You have to have a compelling story, a reason to bring these characters back, and quality. And, then people show up. It's actually not that hard. You got to have a strong reason for the characters to be on screen.
A superhero fatigue. But I think that, you see now that it's not a real thing. People are fatigued with repetition. And I don't think it's really just superhero movies. I think you're seeing it happening now. It's spectacle films in general.
Ooh. Yeah. If it's too similar, It doesn't do enough things on its own. You feel like you've seen it before. Yeah.
You know,
I think it's more than that. I think when's the last great comedy? Can you remember the last great comedy?
yeah, but there are so few of them made that you don't have, you know, but there's a lot of spectacle films made, and they just have gotten really generic, and they've gotten boring, and they aren't about characters, and there's no emotion to them. And there should be emotion in things no matter what. Like that should always be there. Some type of emotion. I'm not saying it can't be really light. I'm not saying it can't be really heavy. I'm saying there should be some sort of
You're right,
emotion.
and that goes with horror and comedy.
I really am enjoying this clip from the interview. I totally agree with everything he's being said here. It's not comic book fatigue either. It's just spectacle films where there's not spectacle for spectacle's sake and not a lot of heart or story. Or I totally agree with this. This is making me feel more confident about his next projects.
Everything.
That's right.
It's just all the.
It's just will DC fans still be burned though? Still be burned because we were led to believe that this was going to be something amazing. You know, we were led to believe that this was one of the best comic book movies of all time, which it still can be for many people. But I honestly don't think that the best superhero movie, one of the best superhero movies ever, is in theaters and people just aren't seeing it. I don't believe that. I think if it's that good, eventually it'll get that attention. If it's that good. Because the superhero genre altogether gives you instant audience. There's some other great movies in the history of Hollywood that have been in there and they haven't got the box office they deserved. They become cult classics. But as long as you're delivering a really good movie and it's a superhero movie, people are going to show up. The fan base, it's instant fan base there. I honestly believe it. So even though there's people that are finding very great people that find things to love about this movie, I think if it was really matched up to one of the best comic book movies of all time, then it's eventually going to get the accolades, including people's money for that. I really believe it. I don't think one of the best cinematic movies, superhero movies ever, is actually in theaters and just no one's going to see. I don't believe that. I know that's different from a lot of my friends' view, but I just don't believe it.
Like in a horror movie, if you like that main character, then you're much more scared when they're about
if
to
you
get
care
killed.
about them.
Exactly.
If you take the time to make
the stakes matter.
And it doesn't even matter big stars. Think about it. If you put out a movie, let's say James Gunn put out a movie with DC for DC, or you made another Marvel's a Suicide. Well, this guy was DC. But if you put it out there and it was a bunch of no names, if the trailer's great, people are going to see it. They don't care if so-and-so's in my opinion, especially horror movies, maybe not as much in the big Marvel DC universe. Maybe you need some stars, but like for the
I'm telling you, no, it's much more important to me that the actor fits the role.
Okay. Take that, Henry Cavill. That was great clip. I really like that. Now let's get to Grace. This shout out to Brucifer. I'm reacting to this instead of just watching it in my bed. I want to get the reaction fresh, and I don't want to waste this amazing thumbnail. I now have to hear what Grace has to say. I have to hear it because I heard she has some hot takes in this video, and I got to see it. All right, hold on. Now, I take no joy in the Flash getting this low box office, and this is significantly low. It's shocking. That means the projection, 20 million, almost 20 million under projections.
Hello.
That rarely happens. Okay. Let me make sure I have the audio. I don't want to screw this up. I'm not doing this again. It's already late. It's already like 3 a.m. It's almost like 4 in the morning. What am I doing? I got to rethink my life. No, I won't.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math. Well, wow.
DC drama. Uh-oh.
55.1. That's
what a pause that is. Look at that. Wow. Okay, but I went ahead. Sorry, people watching this. Oh no, she's got VPN ads in there now. Oh no, Grace. I would too if they came to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I could use the money. DC drama. That is a long Disney drama. I don't care about that. So we'll at least get 15 minutes in.
half of what it needed to do, and it's significantly lower than even the kindest of projections. Some of the trades were almost an hour or more late to even call this, because I'm sure Warner Brothers was what was
like,
Warner
double check? Please double check that number, please.
Brothers, were they looking for change in their sofas? Like, this is the number. Oh my gosh. Wow. And you know who's laughing right now in Hollywood? Mr. Dwayne Johnson. Well,
this makes The Rock look better. I gotta be real. This makes The Rock. They should have stayed course. This is the number one problem with Warner Brothers. They keep going back and forth without a plan. No one has confidence. You're finally going to tell us you have Superman, then you're going to back off on that. No one trusts you. No one trusts Warner Brothers. Well, I shouldn't say no one, because that's also my pet peeve. Lots of people do not trust Warner Brothers. And it does make Rock look better.
James Gunn is probably wondering if he's been handed the keys to a lemon. And also whether or not maybe he should keep his mouth shut. Did he really have to make Andy Muschietti the official director of Batman Brave and the Bold the Thursday night when it opened? He didn't even get any.
I've criticized the industry for doing this. This is where I compared it to a Kathy Kennedy move. But to be fair, it's a Hollywood move. You make an announcement to also give more promotion to your project going in the theaters. I think it was too soon to announce this. And now Batman the Brave and the Bold, whether Muschietti deserves it or not, it has that stink on it. And if you think that they were bad to Zack Snyder back in the day, if any of the old school Warner Brothers still has their tendrils into the new Warner Bros. Discovery, which there's still people that have connections there, they're going to mess with Muschietti if he does the movie. Honestly, if the second weekend drop is horrible, I really doubt that they're going to have him still direct Batman the Brave and the Bold. And I don't care if they announce it officially or not. And this is why, even if they wanted him, they should have waited till all the cards were on the table. And that just makes business sense. Maybe if the weekend opening was like a strong opening weekend, then you announce it. But wait.
Traction for the headline. And now, just a few days later, look at this box office and audience score. This movie has no redeeming qualities from a business perspective. James Gunn's been all like, I'm the master creative person, but it's like he wanted a business role, yet he refuses to put his business hat on. And also, James Gunn was like, Blue Beetle is the first official character of the DC universe that I'm building. Is he? What if that movie bombs? How are you going to...
Good point. And honestly, I saw the trailer. I'm still looking. I'm going to go see Blue Beetle. It doesn't have any baggage of the rest. I'm hoping for the best. But and the visual effects, for the most part, look better than the trailer for The Flash, I got to be honest. But I still have some concerns about it, like when he's the in-visor and the voice in-visor seems very TV cheese to me. So I just hope that it is actually genuinely funny with George Lopez, and that I forget the star's name from Cobra Kai is as likable enough to draw people in. I'm really hoping, but If he goes overboard promoting this too, it's gonna. People have already lost confidence. It's not gonna help.
Or walk that back. And why even say it? I don't think anyone's falling for these statements. James Gunn is not the influencer that I think he thought he was. At least not in the DC space. Probably because a lot of DC fans are upset with him. It's nuts. Stop making these statements and maybe slow down on Superman Legacy. He vouched so hard for The Flash. I liked it too. But then it got these results. Gunn has got to be nervous that maybe he doesn't get DC as well as he did Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, the least he can do is spread around the liability. He's taken full responsibility for Superman Legacy. The last time someone did that in the DC space, it was Patty Jenkins. And look how that turned out. Oh, I know. James Gunn fired her. Or, they parted ways.
This is what I say too. Like, oh yeah, they're just in the back burner. Okay, yeah. I don't think that a directed by James Gunn is tarnished at all. I just think his promotion and his part as an influencer was hurt. Like what she's saying is accurate. I think it's accurate. He did feel like he could be an influencer and almost like a kingmaker for other projects. And I feel like any project in this universe, at least until it gets going, not directed by James Gunn, is people may give it a second guess as to what they're saying is accurate, because you feel like when you're being sold on something that you're not getting. The Flash very well could be a great fun movie, but being consistently sold that it's a cinematic masterpiece, this is the movie we need right now from Tom Cruise, no one's gonna fall for that shit again. Sorry.
She's busy right now. She's not gonna do this movie forever.
She's busy
because that's
with
how
nothing.
Gunn likes to do. He doesn't like to actually fire anyone.
Yeah, she's busy with nothing. She's not doing anything right now.
He better be careful that Zazie doesn't come up with something for him. And if Gunn's nervous, he can't even tweak his Superman script until the writer's strike is over. Slow it down, Gunn. You don't see Feige.
This stuff I've consistently criticized. It's not going to age well. It's not going to age well. That's what I've said. If you don't need to say anything, don't. Sometimes the smartest people in the room are the ones that aren't saying things consistently. Don't waste your breath on something that's not going to help you. That might only hurt you, or might only hinder you, or just get an internet point, because it might seem like it can rub people the wrong way. If you have something to lose with social media, don't use it. Don't always gamble with it. There's especially tossing your line out there so much. Yeah, you catch some fish, but you catch a lot of crap too.
Talking to anybody, really. Although they're having problems there too. All right, so it's rough out there right now. Now, speaking of nervous, Zazie also thought The Flash was a great movie. And again, I do too. But now, maybe Zazie should have taken another tax write-off. This is shocking. There's so much going on here. We're going to have quite the conversation.
Oh, I can't wait to get the DC drama. Because, the drama, DC, it's industry drama, which I can handle. I've taken backseat with other drama, but industry drama I can handle. But this is a revealing moment for sure. And I don't know what the answer is, and I am embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for DC that it got to this point. But you leave your dirty laundry out there long enough, this is what happens. Zaslav and a lot of Hollywood just think people are going to show up regardless. You have to build consumer confidence. And the Black Adam Henry Cavill fiasco does not just have to do with the Snyderverse. There are fans of Gal and Henry that aren't even fans of Zack Snyder's work, that are just fans of those two and Aquaman. And you've burned a lot of that. It really has. People still don't have a clear picture of what's going on. The slate didn't help. I liked hearing the slate of projects coming up. And I also got hell for saying I don't think a lot of this stuff's going to happen. And especially now, they don't have money to do all those projects. Especially now, they don't have money to do that whole slate. It very well could get sold again. This is very, very sad. I don't know what the answer. There's no good answer here.
But I think maybe Zazie should have taken the tax write-off. It would have been even bigger. Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 have got to be sweating bullets right now that they're going to get an express ticket to Max. And at the very least, they shouldn't expect big advertising campaigns. Why send more money after bad? Although some are claiming that the lack of a PR campaign is what hurt The Flash.
No.
With the star unable to do press and the Writers Guild strike shutting down the late night talk shows so that Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, and Sasha Calle, and maybe even Andy Muschietti, couldn't make the rounds, even if Ezra Miller couldn't. I think it's pretty clear that The Flash is a perfect storm of problems. I mean, I would say maybe that was an issue, but it was one of many.
Yeah.
Before we list them, this episode of Movie Math is brought to you by ExpressVPN.
Oh, she went there. Look, ExpressVPN. All right, let's get into the. Look at that, Grace. ExpressVPN.
Let's break down that perfect storm of DC drama. And I want to start with the problems the movie had before it even opened. The Flash is not a particularly well-known character to the masses. And those casuals who can name check him probably
I disagree with that. I think besides Batman, Superman, and Supergirl, Flash is the next. Even above Green Lantern. And there's a big audience for the TV show. The TV show's been out there for how many years? It got to season 8. You don't do that without being a well-known character. I disagree.
Think of him as a character on the CW. And I didn't think the trailers were particularly good either. As we've been saying, even if somebody thinks the Flash is good, no one's going to believe them. Although I think, clearly from the cinema score, not everyone's going to like the Flash. It has, I think, limited appeal, unfortunately. Again, like Batman v Superman.
These are also facts about the cinema score. I did not know it got to be cinema score till I watched this video. That's very significant. That's not great. That makes me feel like the second weekend drop is going to be significant, and that's sad. Although I will be doing my best to contribute to the second weekend box office next week and when I see it.
But even people who might enjoy it probably aren't going to give it a whirl in theaters because of the ad campaign that didn't look great and did look a lot like a CW show, as some of my coverage pointed out. This could potentially, though, be an issue for Blue Beetle as well. That character is an even deeper cut in DC characters. And Marvel is even having the same problem with hyping up fringe characters while ignoring or abandoning the much bigger, more popular characters that people actually want to see. And also, but what about all the Batman, right? I mean, just like Batman props.
Yeah, I thought that having Michael Keaton back was going to at least give a bigger opening weekend. And I'm honestly, that's part of the reason I have to see this now. I'm very happy to see a conclusion to his version of Batman. Really.
Up a lot of comics and animated movies, direct to streaming. Here, they thought Batman would prop up this movie as well. Sure, people aren't as familiar with the Flash, but everybody knows who Batman is. But how many people know who Michael Keaton's Batman is or care? That's something else we've been discussing the past few weeks, and it has come to fruition. No Way Home only went back to 2002 with Tobey Maguire. Michael Keaton's Batman is from 1989 and 1992. And a lot of Batman have come since. Way fewer people feel nostalgic for his version of the character. Indiana Jones, whose last good movie also came out in 1989, looks to be having the same issue. It's just too far back.
I disagree there. I think both of these characters have plenty of nostalgia, It's just that they have to be done well, you know. And as far as I've heard, that's the best part. One of the best parts of the Flash is Michael Keaton's portrayal. So, all right, she's saying it's too far back. Well, to be fair, if I wasn't doing movie talk, I still would love movies. I would still see these things. But if I was not doing movie talk, which I love movie talk, I would probably wait. And I was just my age and I was just a normie. And believe me, I'm a madman and wear a mask on the internet, and I will wear a mask at cons too. I probably would wait to see some of these movies. And I think that's a lot of people my age, and I think younger generations. I do see that part. Yeah, the young generations, it is too far removed from them. But I think if it was an excellent portrayal of Indiana Jones or Michael Keaton, you wouldn't stop me from getting to the theater opening weekend. If it was really a cinematic masterpiece and a great conclusion of both Indiana Jones and Michael Keaton's version of Batman, I think there would be a rush to theaters, just like there was for Maverick and Top Gun, because Top Gun was very far removed from its origin movie. But people have all watched Top Gun, and it was just really well done. So if it was a mediocre Top Gun movie, you would have got box office like Independence Day Resurgence or something. But it was amazing. So just like my other arguments and earlier with James Gunn, you build it and they will come. If it's a quality product, people will show up day one, no matter what age they are. I just think people my age are more discerning and can wait. And we have so many options, you know?
Christian Bale been the Batman of this movie? Good luck. But
No.
if he had, that would have probably had more of a No Way Home effect. This is why Deadpool 3 is very well positioned.
Yes. Deadpool 3 is gonna, I'm predicting is gonna make box office records and be an amazing moment for fans.
X-Men: The Last Stand came out in 2006. It was the Fox X-Men were contemporaries with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So it's got that going for it, right? And of course, they've been making Deadpool movies for a while now, and Wolverine movies with Hugh Jackman. His last one was just in 2017. So that's fresh in people's minds still. Then early screenings. Oh, we thought this might bite them in the butt, and bite them in the butt. It has. They had.
She's talking about backlash from early screenings. You know what? A lot of people did get tickets if they wanted to, and they didn't come back again. They maybe went overboard with this. Besides, okay.
So many early screenings that some people saw it multiple times in early screenings. I know some of you did for free. Heck, even a lot of the press got to see the movie early at CinemaCon in April. Freaking April. Sony kept that No Way Home close to the vest.
She bleeped it.
And that way it exploded when it finally hit the box office. Now, some people are saying, what about all the leaks? Even the Muschietis are claiming the leaks are what did them in. But, no dice. No Way Home was the leakiest movie ever. In fact, it was the first truly big leak movie. But Sony did not, nor anyone associated with No Way Home, confirm any of those leaks. Whereas Andy Muschietti and company confirmed multiple leaks in advance.
Now, I heard from my friends that he did. I didn't actually see those clips myself. But, yeah.
Release. And really had no choice because, again, they started showing the film to press and fans starting in April. Fans aren't, press and critics will pay attention most of the time to an embargo. But fans, they just put all that stuff online. They don't care. They don't have any responsibilities. Showing a movie early to fans is extremely risky, especially if it has spoilers in it. Although I will say that I feel pirated clips online and social media are out of control for many movies, especially movies that have a hate campaign against them. And there
okay, she's going to address that. All right, let's see.
Are some that are motivated for it to fail, both in uploading the clips and watching the clips. Quantumania, The Little Mermaid, and now The Flash, I think were all targeted to this degree and suffered considerably. You can see almost the entire movie, certainly the big momentous moments online.
I doubted her in the past on this situation, but I kind of do think that, especially with some younger viewers' attention spans and the prevalence of TikTok, and you could watch sequences of scenes, like the most important scenes, and get the whole story, really. So I actually think she has a point here, which I doubted her before, but now I'm starting to see it. Yeah.
Even if you're not looking for them. That's how, I mean, it used to be you had to dig for this stuff. Now it's like floating to the top. As you know, because
and I do also believe that the history of Hollywood, they will take that one example and then just harp on that to explain to and use that one example of their content being pushed everywhere on like TikTok and excuse away the other problems of these releases. Besides Little Mermaid was I mean, I haven't seen The Flash yet. Quantumania I have a lot of issues with, but Little Mermaid was great. I think the marketing was great. It's just people couldn't accept and were being gatekeepers over Ariel. And I'm not going to mention why. You know why. And that's just unfortunate. But, all right, let's see.
Clicks. Ezra Miller. I do believe Miller kept a significant number of people from seeing this film. Some more liberal moviegoers were likely put off by Miller's breakdown and the accusations against them, while some more conservative moviegoers, especially in today's unfortunate and tragic political climate, weren't likely to support an LGBT lead. So I think that probably had a big effect as well. Then superhero fatigue mixed with multiverse fatigue. Even hardcore fans like myself are like, I don't know how many more multiverse stories I can take. Yep, there are too many superhero movies and shows, so much so that they all are starting to blend together. And even superhero.
Also, I just saw Across the Spider-Verse today, and good multiverse movies. And I'm not saying this isn't a good one, but the level of multiverseness that you get in Across the Spider-Verse compared to what I hear is in here is just unparalleled. Like, there's no competition of what they accomplished in Across the Spider-Verse. There isn't. So, bam, they like dropped the mic on multiverse movies. Really, I don't know. I can't imagine anyone coming close to what they did in Across the Spider-Verse.
Jason films like Transformers contributes to this problem because they all are borrowing from each other and they're all kind of cut from the same cloth, particularly to normies, you know, mainstream moviegoers who aren't really into these IPs originally, but like the movies. They're like, every movie's the same. No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Verse, and The Flash are all very similar stories. Spider-Verse and The Flash coming out 2 weeks apart. I tweeted that after I saw Spider-Verse. I was like, what? It's all very simple. I think they play differently, but you know, I'm a hardcore fan. I'm used to reading a lot of comic books simultaneously. I can differentiate, but a lot of people have not trained their minds to do so. Let's hope that there are no more multiverse stories coming up, with the exception of Loki Season 2 and What If Season 2. Come on, Marvel, chill. You are overloading the multiverse space until Deadpool 3, itself a multiverse story, kicks off next summer. And of course, there's the DC drama. And it's
all right, here we go.
Gunn and Safran have stopped the drama. In fact, they've added their own to it.
I agree here. I know, you know, some of my friends are going to disagree. I think just when the situation's volatile, just keep to yourself, head up, move forward. And I agree. I think even if they were right, sometimes it's good to just not say anything, you know, and trying to put so much spin on decisions like, I didn't get rid of your favorite superhero, we just didn't use them, is, you know, when you're being bullshitted. You know, that and the combination of this is one of the best of, I think that lost a lot of people's trust in their PR. And James Gunn is not just the creative right now. He has to, he should be an influencer in selling you these movies, and you want to be able to trust them. And I'm not going to call him a liar. I just don't think you could trust him when he pumps up his next DC project, unless it's his own. And that's sad. And that's embarrassing.
It's made some fans absolutely hate Warner Brothers in DC, while a lot of other people are just sick of all the drama and want out. Which leads to problems. Let's now discuss problems with the film now that it has opened. And as I said, it turns out a lot of people genuinely don't like it. A B cinema score is a disaster. A lot of you sometimes will be like, I'd be happy with a B on a test. Not if you were trying to like have a, here's the thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that too, because shout out to Bruce for, hopefully you're watching, that he said people like this movie. B cinema score, and cinema scores are one of the scores that the industry does actually look at. I think the cinema scores are verified. Is not good. That every movie that I know of that's had a B cinema score has had a pretty significant second weekend drop. So if you didn't get it in the first weekend, even movies with like an A- have had a pretty big decline for the second weekend. So this is not going to end well for this movie, unfortunately, unless it really is lighting up overseas, which I still have to check out.
Just at least for cinema scores, most blockbuster films that do well have an A or an A-, because it determines how long the longevity of the movie at the box office. A B+ is okay, but even then you should start to be a little nervous, or your film's a little controversial, maybe, right? If you get a B, Panic City. The only thing that's immune to this is horror films, which usually get a C, but still can perform quite well. And when horror films are in the B range, hallelujah! But if you get below a B+ and you're a regular movie, that's like scary stuff. That's like, you don't want that. So Quantumania got a B, just to give you some perspective. But so also did Batman v Superman. So I feel The Flash is more of a divisive film, which some people loved and some people hated, and some people felt mad.
We're right back at the same spot.
But you can't argue, like James Gunn and David Zaslav and Tom Cruise and Stephen King tried to, that everyone would love it. It's like what I did when I saw Batman v Superman. I was like, I love this movie, but I acknowledge that a lot of people do not. So what do audiences want from a DC movie? I'm sure that James Gunn is if James Gunn was smart, if he had any self-awareness and was willing to, he'd be asking himself that right now. He'd be having an emergency meeting. So what do audiences want from a DC movie? We know pretty much what they want from a Batman movie, by the way. And this isn't it. So once again, why is Andy Muschietti directing Batman Brave and the Bold? I'm like, they want it like no
man. And he seems like a really nice guy. But mistake announcing this officially. And it hurts him. This could hurt Andy Muschietti if they don't use him, because that's going to be embarrassment. Whereas if they just didn't announce it, he can move on to a next project. Alex be like, aren't you busy with Batman? Aren't you busy with Batman Brave and the Bold? And I doubt they're going to keep him. I doubt that if this is as disastrous box office as it looks in the second weekend drop, I doubt they're going to keep him. Especially not, everyone thinks, well, James Gunn wants them to stay. Not if it's not. Zaslav's going to intervene. Zaslav will intervene on this one. He did with Cavill. You think that Zaslav is going to to get rid of Cavill, but not Muschietti? Okay, we'll see. I doubt it, and I don't want. It's not what I want either. Because I heard the Batman stuff's pretty cool in here.
Nolan and Reeves, that's what they want. And Phillips, they don't want this bright, happy Batman. They've said no. But what about DC overall? Are people even interested in DC stories? I mean, they were for a little bit there, right? Is the brand so damaged at this point with all of the problems? Is it beyond repair, or what would it take to repair it?
With this last batch of decisions and releases, announcing a reboot and a slate before you have your movies was a horrible decision. And I got so much shit for saying that. You cannot promote a year's worth of DC movies when people know it's leading into reboot. It's just impossible. No matter how confident you are in yourself. James Gunn seems like a confident guy. It's just not possible. No one could have sold these movies with announcing a slate and that they were going to be rebooted. No one could have done this. It was the bad decision. They should have waited until these movies released. And then you wouldn't have got, and then if it still did this bad, you wouldn't have got this big backlash from them rebooting. You know? Then people would be cheering it on, not fighting against you then.
I think just throwing more movies at the wall is working. They're all sliding down. It's so awkward to watch. On the one hand, I think the drama has turned off casual fans. They don't know what's happening with the characters. They don't even know who's playing the characters at this point, or what's happening with the brand overall. There's been no clarity. And as I've been saying, they should have done a hard reboot. It just makes it more confusing and not really feel like it's anything different, really. And then when it comes to hardcore DC fans, once again, where are you when the box office
We're not just gonna show up unless you give us. We're not just gonna show up unless you show some backbone and confidence in following through with the plan and not just changing it at every little obstacle. Build some confidence back with your consumers.
Plus, though, the DC audience remains incredibly fractured. DC loves to experiment with its characters in different spaces, but the result is they have so many different versions of the characters, and the fandom is therefore spread out, whereas Marvel is pretty much, for better or worse, on the same page with everything. I mean, they've even ruined their comics over at Marvel to make sure the MCU is what they pay attention to. Although, Marvel, having plenty of problems. Plenty. Watch my Secret Invasion interview that went up yesterday. But yeah, if you make one part of the fandom of DC happy, you probably upset all the other ones. So it's a mess. I'd also like to add on this note that this is for Secret Invasion as well. You can't use the title or the idea of a beloved comic book story and expect to capitalize on it. In fact, you'll probably end up annoying and mobilizing against you the very fandom that you were.
Because of gatekeepers. But honestly, when you have something that is significant as Flashpoint, you want to make sure. I would think, yes, there's each artist's interpretation, but you want to make sure you bring your A game, you know. And unfortunately, she seems to be alluding that Secret Invasion is something similar. Oh, God.
Trying to appeal to in the first place. Sure, Civil War made a lot of changes, but the core of the story remained the same. Captain America versus Iron Man, heroes divided. And yeah, the Flash movie isn't called Flashpoint, but it's clearly based on that comic. Hollywood creatives, if you want to tell your own story, get your own title. At this point, I honestly
agree with her there.
That the main DCU should just take a break, like Star Wars, but still continue with the Batman and Joker too. I don't even know why they're making Batman Brave and the Bold when they have a Batman 2 coming up. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm thinking maybe a 5-year break. They might need that much time. What do you think? I mean, with the casting choices that Gunn is considering, he's apparently been auditioning them this weekend. Can he really move the needle with those actors? Or like The Flash, is he making the most expensive CW episode ever? I think that might be what's happening. But hold up. These days, we don't just have DC drama anymore.
I don't agree with her there. I think that he could do a great Superman legacy. I just think they could have done a great movie continuation with Cavill too. But I disagree with that.
but we also now have Disney drama.
All right, that's all. I'm getting to bed. Glad to react to that. Please let me know in your comments below if you stayed to the end. I did a 50-minute pre-recorded video before I went to bed. And do I regret that? No. I'm going to upload this. Thank you for watching. I am so mixed on DC. I just want to stop being it. I want it to stop being a joke. And then I do feel like the industry is just going to use excuses. Instead of fixing the problems, they're going to focus on excuses, and then they might make a lot less superhero movies because of all their excuses. And that's not the answer either. Just make better movies. I'll see you later. Bye.